My name is Dashiell Stanford. I'm a member of the Tallinn expat community here. And I'm joined today by Kaarel and Natalie, who are going to tell us a little bit about the activities and events available to residents coming up over the summer months. So Kaarel, Natalie, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I thought it might be good to start just with a brief introduction of who you are and what you're doing in the city day to day. Ladies first, maybe we can start with you, Natalie.
Yes, thank you. So I work as the nighttime advisor of Tallinn City, and I work very closely with Kaarel, who is the deputy mayor of culture. And a nighttime advisor may sound perhaps a bit strange or mystical, but actually it entails kind of curating everything that takes place in the city between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., including culture activities.
Great, thank you for that. And Kaarel, what are you doing?
As Natalie said, I'm one of the 7 deputy mayors in Tallinn, and my field is culture.
Fantastic. Thanks again for joining us. There are lots of things that are coming up over the next few months, and I'm sure people are very eager to hear all about what's available and what might be a good, suitable option for them. Something is happening around museums. I think maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. What's going on with museums over the coming course?
I hope there's going a lot in the museums, but you probably mean the one thing. We started in March, the Museum Sundays. Mm-hmm. It's a tradition in different cities, and now we started it as well in Tallinn. Basically, as simply as it could be put, every first Sunday of a month, the museums are free. But what Tallinn City can do is to provide it the museums Tallinn is administrating, or museums who are under the management of the city of Tallinn. So we're talking about the seven parts of Tallinn City Museum, and also our literature museums in Kadriorg. There are 3 of them. But luckily there have been some private museums and smaller institutions who have been like examining how we're doing, and they have started to join with the Museum Sundays. So altogether by now we have 14 different places, okay. 14 different museums that are free without entrance fee during the first Sunday of every month. We have had it 3 times, and every next one has been a record.
Wow.
Roughly, there have been 20 times more people than on regular Sundays. Amazing. So I believe that people are discovering again museums, Tallinn City Museum, and sure, everybody are welcome.
Fantastic. Are there options both for adults and children as well, or what kind of museums are available?
Yes, there are. There is the main like city museum on the Vene Street. There is one. The main, or could say the main interest is usually Kikendi Kök and 4 different old wall towers that tell different stories about Tallinn and what has happened in these towers during history. There is a children's museum in Kadriorg, Miiamilla. There is a very, very interesting and the newest museum, Kalamaja Museum in Kalamaja. It's like a community museum because Kalamaja, it has gone through like a renaissance during the last 10 years. And then this museum tells the history of Kalamaja and also the present and how it has really fastly developed during the last years, and so on. So yeah, there is something for everybody, I believe.
Sounds fantastic, like a lot of really, really good options. What else is happening during the daytime? We're going to get to nighttime in a moment. I'm very eager to hear about that as well. But tell me what other things residents can enjoy during the daytime hours.
There's lots of happening, and hard to I don't know, promote or say something very specific. probably something really interesting. Unfortunately, it will be an Estonian. Tallinn City Theatre will produce over a couple of years a really massive summer production in Patarei Sea.
The prison.
Sea prison, yeah, near there. It will be something very, really huge. Altogether, more than 20 performances. That's something, when you understand a bit Estonian, that's probably as much as I've heard, reasonable to visit. But maybe like an overall view is that I believe maybe I'm even a bit worried how much is happening because it's clear that during the last 2 years there has been like lots of reasons why you cannot do stuff and why you cannot organize events, and it feels a bit that everybody are now trying to make it even.
Yeah.
Everything will be happening now during the summer months, and what makes me a bit worried is that most of the organizations and cultural producers they somehow were able to survive the last 2 years. But now will be the time that everybody will try to get even, and everybody are risking with a lot. So on behalf of the audience, I believe everybody will find something they will find interesting, suitable for them. But on the other hand, from the side of the organizers, probably we are offering a bit more than there is the need.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Let's touch on a couple more things specifically before we change gears. Can you tell me, I heard something about a Tallinn Day or an Old Town Day. Are these the same thing? Are they different?
No, these are not the same thing. One is Tallinn Day, Tallinn City Day. It's 15th of May, and 15th of May because 774 years ago, on the 15th of May, Tallinn received the city rights of the Lübeck city rights. And it has been around some 20 years the tradition to celebrate it. Mm-hmm. It has different smaller activities. This year we focused on our new title. Tallinn became UNESCO Music City. It's a UNESCO Cultural Cities. It's a network around the world. There are altogether around 300 different cities that have applied to receive the title and take some obligations. There are 7 different categories. Tallinn became the city of music. Wow. And this year, during the 15th of May, also a bit because we were not able to celebrate it during the last 2 years. We made it a weekend around, maybe even a little bit like festival, mm-hmm. different concerts, and that was Tallinn Day. But that happened. Now the Old Town Days, it's even longer tradition. It's I don't know, it's 40th time this year, and it has like grown a lot. It will happen with that kind of scale also after a couple of years, and it will be the first weekend of June. Like everything will happen in the Old Town, and but not only focusing on the history, but also on the
sure.
on the.
And all the events will happen within the walls of Old Town?
Mostly, yes.
Okay, fantastic. It seems like a lot of really exciting things coming up this summer. Thank you very much for that. So Natalie, I think one of the most interesting things about this region is these glorious white nights where the sun seems to never set this time of year. And I know a lot of people, myself included, are really looking forward to that. So could you give us a little brief overview of what options there are for people sort of after hours who maybe want to enjoy some activities and events then?
Sure. So when we think about nighttime activities, then we can actually divide it into sectors. So kind of like late night, early night, late night, and early morning. Early night activities are things like theater shows and also cinema sessions. So also this can be counted as nighttime culture. And when we think about at what time they end, it's usually, around 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Then in a city where the nighttime is well organized, the whole structure supports the early night activities too, meaning that after you come from your theater show, and if you still want to spend an hour or two in the city, then it would be great if around midnight you still would have the chance to take public transport home instead of hailing a cab. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to really late night or those early night activities, then Tallinn actually has a very active music culture and nightclub culture with very high quality content. Mm-hmm. Especially when we think about the size of the city, then the amount of high quality entertainment we have during night is pretty big. And I'm sure everybody that has spent a bit time in Tallinn or has Googled what to do in Tallinn during night, then they all know that the northern part of Tallinn, especially Kalamaja, Telliskivi and Noblessner are these areas where most of these activities are happening now. So years ago, it used to be a bit more in the center, also in the old town, but like every normal city, also Tallinn has developed and just moved a bit north with those activities too. And once again, there's everything, something for everybody's taste. Yeah.
So that was I heard about the first part of the night, and then the evening, from midnight until 7 a.m. Is that all? You would say that's the sort of club period, or is there something, this early morning activities you mentioned? Is there something else available then, or no?
Well, in that sense, yes. I know that there are also private trainers doing training sessions in Kalamaja Park, for example, in 6 a.m. So actually, this is also a early morning
yoga,
activity. Yes,
sorts of
absolutely.
Things. Yeah.
And I think that this actually describes a very lively and great city in all, that it is active 24 hours, and now I think we have at least 2 sport clubs or gyms that are open 24 hours, and whenever I pass them during late hours, then actually people are there training.
Impressive.
Or I know I'm definitely one of them. Don't get me wrong. and also we have now the first supermarkets that are opened also 24 hours. So it's definitely not only about going out or having a drink or even seeing a music show or a performance show, but it's accessible activities for different tastes, basically.
Yeah, that's great. I know with a new baby, the 24-hour supermarkets have been a huge lifesaver. One more topic I wanted to touch on was some specific programming for Ukrainian refugees. Is there any information or detail you can add about that?
Maybe I can start and then you can add up.
Sure.
What we did then 3 months ago, or perhaps 2.5 months ago, we started to, and this initiative came from Kaarel actually, that we started to collect free cultural events then meant for the war refugees. And we collected them all to the website of Tallinn and did a little open call, so to say, also because we started with what we could manage more or less ourselves. So the Tallinn City Culture Department, basically. But then a lot of private enterprises, and starting from really cinemas till training and handicraft workshops for children joined too. And it was really, really heartwarming to see how people, without a question, were willing to share what they have to help these people, first of all, to really feel welcomed, also to get their thought away, even for a bit, from what's happening back home, but also a lot of parents actually used some of the activities during daytime. When they had to go and deal with some paperwork, then the community helped to play with their children basically during that time. And some of the things are still going on, it has been really good to see.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm really glad to hear that those initiatives are becoming a success. Did you have anything to add to that? Or?
Maybe that I was once again really positively surprised how important or how well is our library, or Tallinn City Library. It has 18 smaller libraries around Tallinn, and how they work as a community centers, and then how they welcome new readers, and how they were the first ones to provide very different kind of help to refugees, also helping with them all kind of paperwork and providing them internet access and computers. It was really, it was one of the strong pillars where all this project started, but after that, I believe still everything, all the events are somehow, way or another, they deal with the Ukrainians here and with the war. So it's something that we have all the time around us, and as Natalie said, it's really really great to see how much people want to help, want to participate in helping.
Yeah, the generosity has really surprised me. It's humbling. Did you have one more thing to add?
Yeah, I just maybe want to add that one thing is the free sessions at cinemas and whatnot, but the other really big part are also the charity events that have been organized. I mean, more than millions of euros have been collected if you count them all. Wow. And some of them are really separate programs from Ukrainians to Ukrainians, or from the international community to Ukrainians. But then also, regular events. Also, when I think about Nightlife, then just event series that take place at clubs. For some weekends in a row, just announced and decided that all the income is being donated to Ukrainians. Or, you can even see how record labels are fastening or making the process faster to release Ukrainian artists and to support them, and that's also a really big value from the culture sector. And I really hope that this generosity and goodwill will not end also when the times are a bit more stable.
Agreed. It's really amazing to see, and I hope it continues. Maybe as a final sort of personal question for each of you, what are you most looking forward to yourself this summer? What activity or event or attraction is most appealing to you?
In a way, I'm looking for this couple of weeks outside of city.
Oh yeah. Where do you go?
I have a small country house somewhere between woods and where the road ends and the electricity ends and so on. So yeah, you have to at some point take a couple of weeks off from everything. But what's happening in Tallinn, in a way, yeah, as I told, I'm waiting for the Tallinn City Theatre large or big summer production, because I have heard so many times that people are Estonians are usually like nuts after the summer theatre. They do a summer theatre in every possible corner on the countryside. And what I have heard so many times by now is that people are happy that something is done in Tallinn as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one thing is this production, and also in August we will have also Tallinn will organize a couple of quite traditional events that hasn't been around for a couple of years. One of these is Birgitta Festival. It's about classical music and operas, and it will be in Pirita. We have old monastery ruins, and it will be built as an opera theatre for 1.5 weeks, and Tallinn Philharmonic will organize it, and after a couple of 2 years, it has been also a tradition more than 20 years. Now, after 2 years, it will happen again, and something. This is like the high culture or the opera in its best.
Yeah, it's great to see these things finally restarting after such a long break. Do you have anything to add, or did he cover it for you?
No, sure. I have my own plans, but. In that sense, yes, same. I'm also waiting for going out of town and visiting other places in Estonia. But actually, I've never been to Birgitta Festival myself, and this is something I am excited about, and I do want to go. I hope that everything kind of works out. But when I'm absolutely honest, then professionally or thinking about my position, I really hope to see that when last year, after the corona restrictions went down and the heat wave came, then actually all the nightlife activities went a bit out of hands. And we've now worked a lot to come up with different action plans to figure out and implement some methods that it will be a bit, let's say, better managed or so. So I really hope that this will go well and everybody will have a good night.
Yeah, I hope so too. In closing, if someone wants to find out more information about either daytime or nighttime activities, where should they turn to? What should they look up?
Well, I think that a lot of information nowadays is on social media, and definitely everything that Tallinn organizes is also easily found on the social media of Tallinn City.
And I assume museums, opening hours, those sorts of things are all available as well, just by Googling, or is there a central location? For
we have a central page on the website of Tallinn about Museum Sundays, but also really good pages of different museums where the information is. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very, very much, both of you, for joining Natalie and Kaarel. It was great to speak with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.